Work and Its Secret by Swami Vivekananda, January 4, 1900. One of the greatest lessons I have learned in my life is to pay as much attention to the means of the work as to its end. He was a great man from whom I learnt it, and his own life was a practical demonstration of this great principle. I have always learning great lessons from one principle, and it appears to me that all the secret of success is there to pay as much attention to the means as to the end. Our great defect in life is that we are so much drawn to the ideal, the goal is much more enchanting, so much more alluring, so much bigger than our mental horizon, that we lose sight of the details altogether. But whenever failure comes, if we analyze it critically, in 99% of the cases we shall find that it is because we did not pay attention to the means. Proper attention to the finishing, strengthening of means is what we need. With the means all right, the end must come. We forget that it is the cause that produces the effect. The effect cannot come by itself. And unless the causes are exact, proper, and powerful, the effect will not be produced. Once the ideal is chosen and the means determined, we may almost let go the ideal because we are sure it will be there when the means are perfected. When the cause is there, there is no more difficulty about the effect. The effect is bound to come. If we take care of the cause, the effect will take care of itself. The realization of the ideal is the effect. The means are the cause. Attention to the means, therefore, is the greatest secret of life. We also read this in the Gita and learn that we have to work, constantly work with all our power, to put our whole mind and soul into the work, whatever it be, whatever we are doing. At the same time, we must not be attached. That is to say, we must not be drawn away from the work by anything else. Still, we must be able to quit the work whenever we like. If we examine our lives, we find that the greatest cause of sorrow is this: we take up something and put our whole energy on it. Perhaps it's a failure, and yet we cannot give it up. We know that it is hurting us, that any further clinging to it is simply bringing misery on it. Still, we cannot tear ourselves away. The bee came to sip the honey, but its feet stuck to the honey pot and it could not get away. Again and again, we are finding ourselves in that state. That is the whole secret of existence. Why are we here? We came here to sip the honey, and we find our hands and feet sticking to it. We are caught, though we came to catch, we came to enjoy. We are being enjoyed. We came to rule, we are being ruled. We came to work, we are being worked. All the time we find that. And this comes into every detail of our life. We are being worked upon by other minds, and we are always struggling to work on other minds. We want to enjoy the pleasures of life, and they eat into our vitals. We want to get everything from nature, but we find in the long run, nature takes everything from us, depletes us, and casts us aside. Had it not been for this, life would have been all sunshine. Never mind. With all its failures and successes, with all its joys and sorrows, it can be one succession of sunshine if we, if only we are not caught. That is one cause of misery. We are attached, we are being caught. Therefore, says the Gita, work constantly, work, but be not attached, be not caught. Reserve unto yourself the power of detaching yourself from everything, however beloved, however much the soul might yearn for it, however great the pangs of misery you feel if you are going to leave it. Still, reserve the power of leaving it whenever you want. The weak have no place here, in this life or in any other life. Weakness leads to slavery. Weakness leads to all kinds of misery, physical and mental. Weakness is death. There are hundreds of thousands of microbes surrounding us, but they cannot harm us unless we become weak. Until the body is ready, predisposed to receive them, they cannot harm us. There may be a million microbes of misery floating about us, around us. Never mind. They dare not approach us. They have no power to get hold on us until the mind is weakened. This is the great fact. Strength is life. Weakness is death. Strength is facility. Life eternal, immortal. Weakness is constant strain and misery. Weakness is death. Attachment is the source of all pleasures now. We are attached to our friends, to our relatives. We are attached to our intellectual and spiritual works. We are attached to external objects so that we can get pleasures from them. What again brings misery but this very attachment? We have to detach ourselves to enjoy, to earn joy. If only we had the power to detach ourselves at will, there would not be any misery. The man alone will be able to get the best of nature, who, having the power of attaching himself to a thing with all his energy, has also the power to detach himself when he should do so. The difficulty is that there must be as much power of attachment as that of detachment. There are men who are never attracted by anything. They can never love. They are hard hearted and apathetic. They escape most of the miseries of life, but the wall never feels misery. The wall never loves, is never hurt, but it is the wall, after all. Surely it is better to be attached and caught than be a wall. Therefore, the man who never loves, who is hard and stony, escaping most of the miseries of life, escapes also its joys. We do not want that. That is the weakness, that is death. The soul has not been awakened and never feels the weakness, never feels misery. That is a callous state. We do not want that. At the same time, we not also want this mighty power of love, this mighty power of attachment, the power of throwing our whole mind and soul into single object, losing ourselves and letting ourselves to be annihilated, as it were, for other souls, which is the power of gods. But we want to be higher even than the gods. The perfect man can put his whole soul upon that one point of love, yet he is unattached. How come this? There is another secret to learn. The beggar is never happy. The beggar only gets a dole with pity and scorn behind it, at least with the thought behind that the beggar is a low object. He never really enjoys what he gets. We are all beggars. Whatever we do, we want a return. We are all traders. We are traders in life. We are traders in virtue. We are traders in religion. And alas, we are also traders in love. If you come to trade, if it is a question of give and take, if it's a question of buy and sell, abide by the laws of buying and selling. There is a bad time, there is a good time also. There is a rise and a fall in prices. Always you expect the blow to come. It is like looking for something in the mirrors. Your face is reflected. You make a grimace. There is one in the mirror. If you laugh, the mirror laughs. This is buying and selling, giving and taking. We get caught. How? Not by what we give, but what we expect. We get misery in return for our love. Not from the fact that we love, but from the fact that we want love in return. There is no misery where there is no want. Desire, want is the father of all misery. Desires are bound to be the laws of success and failure. Desires must bring misery. The great secret of true success, of true happiness, then is this: the man who asks for no return, the perfectly unselfish man, is the most successful. It seems to be a paradox. Do not know that every man who is unselfish in life gets cheated, gets hurt. Apparently, yes, Christ was unselfish, yet he was crucified. True, but we know that his unselfishness is the reason, the cause of great victory, the crowning millions upon millions of lives with blessings of true success. Ask not, want not in return, give what you have to give. It will come back to you. But do not think that now it will come back multiplied 1,000 folds, but the attention must not be on that. You must have power to give, and there it ends. Learn that the whole life is giving, that nature will force you to give. So, give willingly. Sooner or later, you will have to give up. You come into this life to accumulate with clenched hands. You want to take, but nature puts a hand on your throat and makes your hands open. Whether you will it or not, you have to give. The moment you say, I will not, the blow comes. You are hurt. None is there but you will be compelled in the long run to give up everything. And the more one struggles against this law, the more miserable one feels. It is because we dare not to give, because we are not resigned enough to accede to this grand demand of nature, that we are miserable. The forest is gone, but we get the heat in return. The sun is taking up water from the ocean to return it in showers. You are a machine for taking and giving. You take in order to give. Ask therefore nothing in return, but the more you give, the more will come back to you. The quicker you can empty the air out of this room, the quicker it will be filled up by the external air, clean air. And if you close all the doors, every aperture that which is within will remain, but in that case, outside will never come in. And that which is within us will stagnate, degenerate, and become poisoned. A river is constantly emptying itself into the ocean and is continuously filling up again, but not the exit into the ocean. The moment you do that, death seizes you. Be therefore not a beggar, be unattached. This is the most terrible task of life. You do not calculate the dangers on the path. Even by intellectually recognizing the difficulties, we really do not know. We do not know them until we feel them. From a distance, we may get a general view of the park. Well, what of that? We feel and we really know it when we are in it. Even if our attempt is a failure and we bleed and we are torn asunder, yet through all this we have to preserve our heart. We must assert our Godhead in the midst of all these difficulties. Nature wants us to react, to return blow for blow, cheating for cheating, lie for lie, to hit back with all our might. Then it requires a super divine power not to hit back, to keep control, to be unattached. Every day we renew our determination to be unattached. We cast our eyes back and look into the past objects of our love and attachment. And we feel how every one of them made us miserable. We went down into the depths of despondency because of our love. We found ourselves mere slaves in the hands of others. We were dragged down and down, and we made a fresh determination. Henceforth, I will never be master of myself. Henceforth, I will never control over myself. But the time comes that the same story once more. Again, the soul is caught and cannot get out. The bird is in the net, struggling, fluttering. That is our life. I know the difficulties, tremendous are they. 90% of us become discouraged and lose heart, and in our turn, often become pessimists, cease to believe in sincerity, love, all that is grand and noble. So we find men who, in the freshness of their lives, have been forgiving, kind, simple, guileless, become in old age lying masks of men. Their minds are a mass of intricacy. There may be a good deal of external policy, possibly, They are not hot headed, they do not speak, but it would be better for them to do so. Their hearts are dead, and therefore they do not speak. They do not curse, not because they become angry, but it would be better for them to be able to be angry. 1,000 times better to be able to curse. They cannot. There is death in the heart, for cold hands have seized upon them, and it can no more act, even to utter a curse, even to use a harsh word. All this we have to avoid. Therefore, I say we require super divine power. Superhuman power is not strong enough. Super divine strength is the only way, the one way out. But by it alone we can pass through all these intricacies, through all these showers of miseries unscathed. We may be cut into pieces, torn asunder, yet our hearts must grow nobler and nobler all the time. It is difficult, very difficult. But we can overcome this difficulty by constant practice. We must learn that nothing can happen to us unless we make ourselves susceptible to it. I've just said, no disease can come to me until the body is ready. It does not depend alone on the germs, but upon a certain predisposition which is already in the body. We get only that for which we are fitted. Let us give up our pride and understand this, that never is misery undeserved.